Connor's story is not just a rumor. It is a national heritage. From Lagos to Onitsha, people spoke his name the way historians speak about ancient kingdoms. Some said he once priced jollof rice grain by grain. Others claimed he rinsed and reboiled yam water to make tea. Whether all these stories were true or not, one thing was certain: Connor had elevated cost-saving to a sacred calling. He lived in Suralia, in a one-room apartment that had the disciplined precision of a military barracks. Nothing was random. Nothing was wasteful. If a nylon bag entered Connor's house, it would never leave again. He folded them with the care of someone handling newborn puppies and stacked them carefully in a special drawer labeled "nylon for future purposes." Plastic containers. Oh. Connor cherished them. From ice cream cups to parfait bowls to yogurt cups, Connor believed all of them were destined for greatness. If you entered his room, you would see a tower of containers arranged by size, like the United Nations of reusable plastic. Even his toothbrush was a story. When most people would retire their toothbrush after a few months, Connor's toothbrush would have seen seasons, political administrations, and economic reforms. The bristles would be bent like they had experienced life challenges. And still, Connor would say, "It is not time." The toothpaste, however, was the crown jewel of Connor's economy. Where others squeezed, Connor strategized. The tube lived long. It had eras. There was the beginning phase, the middle era, the squeezing epoch, the flattening century, the rolling dynasty, and finally, the honored climax, the cutting age. In this era, Connor sliced open the tube and scooped the remaining paste with the seriousness of a surgeon retrieving a transplanted kidney. Every morning, Connor woke at 5 a.m., not because he was eager for the day, but because he was at war with NEPA. The moment electricity appeared, whether at dawn, midnight, or 3:12 a.m., Connor rose like a ninja. Fast. Silent. Precise. He would plug in everything: his rechargeable lantern, his power bank, his radio, sometimes even his neighbor's torchlight if they left it near his door. To waste the gift of NEPA was, to Connor, the ultimate sin. Breakfast was simple. Gary. Groundnut. Water. If Connor was feeling adventurous, he added a cube of sugar. But that was only on public holidays, and only if the sugar was purchased during promo season. Connor's transportation choices were equally deliberate. Okada. Too expensive. Uber. A sin. Kiki. Only after detailed negotiation. Connor would approach the Kiki driver with the calmness of an ordained negotiator. Driver, 300 naira. For what exactly? For the journey. My brother, be guided. The distance is too short for that price. In fact, the ground is flat. We are not climbing a mountain. He would start walking away. Driver, okay, enter 150. 120. Oh. Connor, final offer. My spirit cannot go above 120. And he would enter, victorious. At work, Connor was known for his ability to dodge office contributions. Whenever a colleague announced, "We are contributing," Connor would suddenly become philosophical. "We must remember that giving is not by force," Connor would say, adjusting his glasses like a professor. "Let us give from the heart. And my heart is telling me to pray for the celebrant instead." Connor was a legend. Yet, this same Connor attended every office party with unshakable dedication. He ate with the joy of someone tasting freedom. But not foolishly, strategically. First, he would scan the food table. Where is the meat? Where is the expensive food? Where is the takeaway nylon? Connor was always ready. If small chops appeared, Connor would take some for the event, and some for later. Those samosas and puff-puffs would find their way into his bag like undercover agents. Connor's behavior extended into his compound as well. One Christmas, the landlord slaughtered a cow and shared meat to everyone. Where others casually collected their share and casually ate it, Connor carried his portion like national treasure, holding the nylon with both hands and walking home slowly, like carrying a newborn. His neighbors whispered stories. He once divided suya to last 3 days. He boils water 3 times before discarding it. But the real trouble came in romantic matters. Connor decided to try dating. He met a lovely woman. Kind. Smart and beautiful. They sat at a restaurant. She smiled and ordered jollof rice and chicken. Connor's eyes widened. He said to the waiter, "We will share. Bring 2 spoons." Then he brought out a bottle of water he filled from home and placed it on the table. The girl was shocked. She stood and walked out. Connor continued eating. Emotions must never interrupt nutrition. So Connor remained single for 7 long years. In Suralia, news traveled fast. Before long, every woman in the neighborhood knew Connor's reputation. They said he was the kind of man who would measure the number of ice cubes in your drink and calculate their cost. The kind who would ask you to return change even if the amount was 10 naira. Ladies avoided him like expired milk. Connor tried. He really tried. He greeted them politely, complimented hairstyles, even attended social gatherings. But once women heard his name, their smiles would stiffen. Oh. Connor. The one that refused to contribute for mosquito net in the compound. The one that brings his own spoon to date so he won't have to buy disposable ones. They would excuse themselves quickly. Connor, realizing romance in Lagos was above his financial risk tolerance, did what many Nigerian men do when frustrated. He went to his mother. "Mama, help me find wife. City women don't understand me." Connor's mother nodded. She understood her son too well. She traveled to the village to locate a calm, respectful, homely woman. Someone who would see Connor's careful spending as wisdom, not madness. But destiny has a sense of humor. Instead of the traditional, gentle village girl Connor expected, the family sent him Amoka. Amoka was GenZ by blood, spirit, and Wi-Fi usage. Edges laid like geometry. Nails long enough to type with dramatic sound effects. Her phone had a ring light attachment. Her laughter had sound of someone who has never known nipple suffering. Connor's heart was instantly captured. Amoka examined Connor. He was handsome. Quiet. Employed and had his own place. Yes, the place was small, but it was neat. He looked responsible. She agreed to date him. Connor could not believe his luck. Finally, love. But Amoka came with a lifestyle. One morning, Amoka said, "Baby, I want shawarma." Connor paused. Shawarma. That food that is rolled like a wrapper but costs like rent. He cleared his throat. "Are you sure you don't want puff-puff and groundnut?" Same cylindrical experience. Amoka simply blinked. He took her to buy shawarma. While ordering, Connor analyzed the price list like a mathematician solving WAC further maths. Then he asked the shawarma guy, "If we remove cabbage and sausage, is there a discount?" "Just chicken and hope." Amoka's face changed slowly like PHCN voltage. Another day, Amoka wanted to go out with friends. She dressed beautifully. Makeup flawless. Perfume floating through air like gospel worship. Connor complimented her, genuinely. Then Amoka said, "Baby, transport money. And small chilling money." Connor blinked. "Why should I sponsor fun I am not attending?" Amoka looked at him as though he spoke ancient Latin. Arguments began. Even though Connor loved her deeply. But love is not enough when one person believes in enjoyment and the other believes in emergency savings. Things escalated the day Amoka ordered food delivery without Connor's knowledge. She ordered pizza. Pizza. Connor opened the door, saw the box, and immediately asked the rider, "Is this a loan? Is an installment payment available?" Amoka laughed and said, "Relax. It's just pizza." Connor sat down. He held his chest. He whispered, "Just pizza. Just. Pizza that I can fry plantain and 3 eggs for the same price and still have change for sachet water." They argued again. Yet, Connor still loved her. You see, sometimes love is not logical. But their greatest battle came during one Sunday visit. Amoka wanted Kunu drink from the street vendor. Connor said no. Not because of cost, but because he knew the vendor well. The vendor had recently increased price by 50 naira. Connor could not accept such inflation. Amoka insisted. Connor refused. Amoka bought it herself. Connor watched in betrayal. He whispered under his breath. So this is how you move? Without price comparison. Without negotiation. Finally, one evening, Amoka looked at Connor with calm seriousness. Baby. I love you, but I cannot be calculating life like this. I want enjoyment. Soft life. Vibes. And shawarma. Connor, the stingiest bachelor alive, was not ready for what happened next. One Sunday, Amoka went to church wearing her simple Ankara gown and gaily she tied herself. After service, while she was helping arrange chairs, a tall, fair-skinned man in well-pressed senator wear approached her. His name was Edu Malaysia, freshly returned from Kuala Lumpur, with perfume that could announce his presence before he spoke. Edu saw Amoka, and that was it. Love hit him like Nigerian heat in dry season. Within 1 week, he was sending her airtime like rain, sending bank alerts like government budget. He took her shopping at boutiques in town, bought her wigs, shoes, a gold-plated wristwatch, and even paid her younger brother's school fees. Amoka, who had been pricing tomatoes carefully, now walked into supermarkets with confidence. Connor heard about all of this and nearly choked on his Gary. Jealousy held him like unpaid debt. He started plotting small local tactics. He began spreading rumors in the neighborhood that Edu was a fraudster, claiming that Malaysia money no pure. EFCC go soon come. Just watch. He pretended to run into them constantly, appearing from nowhere. If they were buying suya, Connor would show up. If they were walking home, Connor suddenly needed to pass that same street. He tried to guilt-trip Amoka, saying, so because of small change you are living true love. Money is temporary, but my heart is permanent. He formed an advice committee with her friends, warning them to warn her. Do you want her to cry later? We have to save her from heartbreak. He even tried to become suddenly generous, though it pained his soul. He even took Amoka to a restaurant, saw the menu price, and ordered only 1 plate of rice with 2 spoons, claiming it was romantic sharing. But Amoka had tasted a better life. Sharing rice could not move her again. Connor's jealousy only made Edu more intentional. Edu kept showing up, steady and respectful. He didn't argue with Connor. He didn't respond to gossip. He just cared for Amoka openly. And that, more than anything, pained Connor. Because it became clear. Even the stingiest bachelor alive cannot compete with genuine affection and consistent generosity. When Amoka and Edu Malaysia decided to take their relationship seriously, they went for genotype testing. The nurse returned with the results calmly, but the words hit like thunder. Both of them were us. Just like that, all the shopping, the love, the promises, the future they imagined, collapsed. Amoka broke down. She locked herself indoors for days. She refused food. She didn't reply to calls. Her mother begged. Her friends tried. Nothing worked. Connor heard, and something in his chest softened. He went to see her. He didn't say much. He just sat on the floor beside her bed, peeled oranges quietly, and placed the slices in a plate in front of her. When she finally took one piece, Connor pretended not to notice. He simply passed her a bottle of cold water and kept sitting there. Slowly, her tears dried. She started speaking in small sentences. Slowly, she noticed things she hadn't before. Connor, for all his stinginess, was patient, loyal, steady, and genuinely cared for her. She saw that when he teased less and listened more, his presence was comforting. Weeks passed. One afternoon, Connor invited her to his cousin's wedding. She agreed. At the reception, while Connor was greeting relatives, his uncle Tito, known for minding everybody's business, pulled Amoka aside. My daughter, Connor has been talking about you. When are you two marrying? Amoka sighed. She didn't want to embarrass Connor, but she was tired of pretending. "Uncle, Connell is good," she said. "But he is very, very stingy. Sometimes it feels like he is holding love like savings account." The uncle nodded, took his cap off, sighed like someone about to deliver wisdom. He later called Connell aside behind the canopy. "My son," Uncle Tito started, "you love this girl, it's clear. But love is like firewood, if you don't add more, it goes out. Money is not everything, but when you love a woman, you must show it. Not for show off, but for care." Connell scratched his head. "But uncle, I'm not rich." The uncle tapped his chest. "It is not about being rich. It is about being willing. If you hold your money too tight, you will hold your happiness too tight, and both will slip away." Connell looked toward where Amoka was sitting, quiet, thoughtful, tired from heartbreak but still beautiful in spirit. Something shifted in him. For the first time, he understood. Connell went home that night with Uncle Tito's words pounding in his mind like a generator running without fuel. He lay on his thin foam mattress, staring at the ceiling fan that rotated lazily. His life had always been calculated, every naira accounted for, every expense debated, every plan measured. But something about losing Amoka to Edu, and almost losing her permanently, cracked something open in him. He remembered the first time he liked her, how she laughed with her whole chest, how she greeted the old women at the well with respect, how she prayed softly before eating, even if the meal was just soaked gari and groundnuts. He remembered all the times he wanted to do more, buy her small gifts, take her out, send her transport money, but his fear of finishing his everything always stopped him. He grew up watching his father die poor, and somewhere inside, he believed that spending money was the quickest way to suffering. But now he saw clearly, he wasn't preserving his future, he was choking it. Meanwhile, Amoka was healing slowly. Edu Malaysia tried to return, apologizing, promising that love could conquer genotype. He quoted doctors from abroad, sent blog posts, even suggested adoption later. But Amoka knew better. The tears she cried after the diagnosis drained her hope to the last drop. She didn't want to raise children in hospitals, watching their tiny chests struggle for air. She blocked his number, not out of anger, but out of self-preservation. Her mother noticed how Connell began visiting steadily, not carrying gifts, not flashy, but bringing presence, care, and small laughter. He helped wash plates when she was tired, helped her younger brother with math homework, even fetched water from the borehole without being asked. There was a calm safety around him. Then came the cousin's white wedding. The hall was decorated with orange and gold, jollof rice aroma filling the air. The band played those emotional Yoruba love songs that enter the body like memory. When Connell walked in with Amoka beside him, heads turned. People whispered, "Oh, Connell. With a woman." Not his debit card. His cousin, the bride, hugged Amoka warmly. "Thank you for coming. We've heard about you." Connell froze. Amoka smiled shyly, his ears turned red. At the reception table, while they ate, Connell made sure Amoka's plate was full. Whenever her drink finished, he quietly got another. He was so attentive. Amoka noticed everything. After the wedding, he sat beside Amoka. He didn't say anything for a while. Then quietly, he spoke. "Amoka, I know what you said. And you are right." She looked at him. "I've held on to money like someone holding breath underwater. I thought if I let go, I would drown. But you make life feel safe enough to breathe." Amoka's eyes stung unexpectedly. Connell cleared his throat. "I don't want to lose you. Not again. So I will try. One step. One day. If you will walk with me." Silence settled, soft and warm. Amoka exhaled, long and slow, the way one does when a burden finally lightens. "I will walk," she said, "as long as you move. Even small steps. I just need you to meet me halfway." That evening, as they were leaving the reception, Connell did something that shocked everyone. He stopped by a small bouquet vendor outside the hall and bought Amoka flowers. Not fake plastic flowers, not plucked roadside hibiscus, actual store bougainvillea wrapped in ribbon. The vendor almost fainted. Connell was sweating. Amoka held the bouquet gently, smiling like dawn. She knew it was not the price of flowers that mattered. It was the effort, the willingness, the love that was learning to show itself. And somewhere in the shadows, unnoticed by them, Edumalacia watched with quiet heart, but also quiet understanding. Love, in the end, chooses where it feels safe to stay.